Last time we talked about what real confidence looks like, the quiet certainty that comes from knowing who you are. But here's the thing, you can't just decide to be confident and call it a day. Most of us have stuff lurking under the surface that sabotages our confidence without us even realizing it. We're talking about insecurities. Those nagging doubts, those voices in your head telling you you're not good enough, not attractive enough, not interesting enough. Today, we're going to face them head on. Because here's the truth, you can't build genuine confidence on top of unexamined insecurity. It's like building a house on quicksand. So let's dig in. Identifying your specific insecurities, common insecurities young men face. Let's start by getting honest about what guys your age actually struggle with. Because a lot of you think you're the only one dealing with this stuff, and that's simply not true. Physical appearance is huge. Maybe you're insecure about your height, your build, your skin, your hair, or something else entirely. You might look in the mirror and fixate on what you think is wrong instead of what's actually fine. Financial status is another big one, especially when you're comparing yourself to guys who seem to have it all together while you're still figuring things out. Social skills trip up a lot of guys too. Maybe you worry that you're awkward, that you run out of things to say, or that people are judging you when you enter a room. Then there's dating-specific stuff, fear of rejection, worrying that you don't know how to talk to girls, feeling like you're behind everyone else because you haven't had a relationship yet, thinking you need to be someone else to be attractive. Here's what's important. Your specific combination of insecurities is unique to you, but the experience of having them is universal. Every guy you admire, every confident person you know has dealt with this. The difference is they've learned to face it. The mirror exercise, facing your fears. Here's something I want you to try. It's simple but uncomfortable, and that's the point. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eyes, and ask, what am I afraid people will see if they really know me? Your brain will probably resist this. You'll want to look away or come up with a surface-level answer. Push past that. Maybe the answer is, I'm afraid they'll see I don't know what I'm doing. Or, I'm afraid they'll realize I'm not as cool as I pretend to be. Or, I'm afraid they'll see I'm lonely. Write it down. Whatever comes up, this isn't about judging yourself. It's about getting clear on what's actually driving your insecurity. Because you can't fix what you won't face. Where insecurity comes from, how past experiences shape self-perception. Most insecurities don't appear out of nowhere. They have roots. Something happened, probably multiple things, that planted a seed in your mind about who you are and what you're worth. Maybe it was a rejection that stung more than you let on. A comment someone made about your appearance that stuck with you for years. A time you tried to put yourself out there and got embarrassed. Maybe you were bullied, or maybe you just never felt like you fit in. These experiences create stories we tell ourselves. I'm not the kind of guy girls like. I always say the wrong thing. People like me don't get the girl. The problem is, these stories become self-fulfilling prophecies. You believe them, so you act in ways that make them true. You hold back, you don't try, you expect rejection. And then it happens, which confirms the story. Breaking this cycle starts with recognizing that the story was written by a younger, less experienced version of you. It's not the whole truth. It's just one topic, social media and comparison traps. Let's talk about something that's making all of this worse. Social media. You already know this intellectually, but it's worth saying directly. What you see on Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat is not reality. It's a highlight reel. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes footage to everyone else's curated greatest hits. You see guys with perfect bodies, seemingly endless confidence, and girls all over them. What you don't see is their insecurities, their bad days, their rejections, the fact that half those girls are just friends or followers, not actual connections. This constant comparison warps your sense of normal. You start thinking everyone else has it figured out except you. That's a lie. The guys posting confident selfies have the same doubts you do. They've just learned to project confidence in specific moments. Don't let a feed full of edited moments convince you that your real life is inadequate. Family and upbringing influences. Your family shaped how you see yourself more than you might realize. Maybe your parents were critical and you internalized the message that nothing you do is quite good enough. Maybe you were compared to siblings or cousins constantly. Maybe your family didn't talk about emotions or self-worth at all, so you were left to figure it out alone. This isn't about blaming your parents or caregivers. Most people parent the way they were parented, and they're doing their best with what they know. But it is about understanding where your patterns started. If you grew up feeling like you had to earn love or approval, that's going to show up in your dating life. You'll feel like you have to prove yourself to every girl you meet, which creates exactly the kind of pressure that makes dating stressful instead of fun. How insecurity sabotages dating, the desperation vibe that pushes people away. Here's something painful but true. Insecurity has a smell. When you're desperate for approval, for attention, for someone to like you, people can sense it, and it pushes them away. This doesn't mean you're a bad person or that there's something wrong with you. It's just human nature. People are drawn to confidence and repelled by neediness. When you're operating from insecurity, every interaction becomes high stakes. You need this person to like you to prove you're okay. That pressure makes you act weird, overeager, overly agreeable, trying too hard to be what you think they want. It's exhausting for them, and it's exhausting for you. Overthinking, every text and interaction, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You send a text, and then you stare at your phone. Did I say the right thing? Why did I use that emoji? She hasn't responded in 2 hours. Does she hate me? Should I text again? Should I wait? What does it mean that she liked my story but didn't reply? This is insecurity running the show. A confident person sends a text and moves on with their life. They don't analyze every comma. They don't reread their own messages 15 times. When you're trapped in this cycle, you're not actually present in your interactions. You're performing and evaluating, and it drains all the fun out of connecting with someone. Self-sabotage patterns to watch for insecurity makes you do things that guarantee the outcome you're afraid of. You're scared of rejection, so you reject yourself first by not asking her out. You're scared she'll lose interest, so you become clingy and she loses interest. You're scared of looking stupid, so you never take the risk that might actually work. Some guys even sabotage relationships that are going well because they don't feel they deserve it. They pick fights, they pull away, they find reasons why it won't work, all because being alone feels safer than the possibility of someone seeing their flaws. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to stopping them. Reframing negative self-talk, catching your inner critic in action. That voice in your head that says you're not good enough, it's not telling you the truth. It's just a voice, and you can learn to catch it in the act. Pay attention to your thoughts. When you see an attractive girl and your first thought is, she'd never be interested in me, notice that. That's not a fact. That's your insecurity talking. When you make a mistake and immediately think, I'm such an idiot, pause. Would you talk to a friend that way? Probably not. So why talk to yourself that way? Replacing lies with truths. Once you catch the negative thought, you can challenge it. Let's say your inner critic says, I have nothing interesting to say. Is that actually true? Have you never had an interesting conversation? Have you never made someone laugh? Of course you have. The thought is a lie. Replace it with something more accurate. I sometimes run out of things to say, and that's normal. I can ask questions and be curious. I don't have to be fascinating every second. This isn't about fake positivity. It's about accuracy. Your insecurities are exaggerations. The truth is usually somewhere in the middle. Accepting yourself, fully embracing your flaws as part of your story. Here's a mindset shift that changes everything. Your flaws are not problems to be solved. They're part of who you are. You can work on things, absolutely. You can grow, improve, develop. But some stuff is just you. And that's okay. The most attractive version of you is not a perfect version. It's an authentic version. A guy who knows his weaknesses and owns them is infinitely more attractive than a guy trying to hide them. Girls don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be real. The freedom of self-acceptance, when you stop fighting against yourself, something amazing happens. You relax, You stop performing. You start actually enjoying interactions instead of stressing through them. You become someone people want to be around because you're comfortable to be around. Self acceptance doesn't mean you stop growing, it means you stop basing your worth on whether you're perfect. You're allowed to be a work in progress. You're allowed to have insecurities. The goal isn't to eliminate them entirely, it's to stop letting them drive the car. You are not your insecurities. You're the guy who's learning to see past them. That's the work, and that's where real confidence starts. Next time, we'll talk about building your foundation, the practical stuff that makes you genuinely solid from the inside out.